Next up, we've got Ben Howard. Ben has over 25 years of consultancy experience implementing IT solutions to solve business problems across all sectors. During this time, he's worked for several key industry organizations, including Microsoft and Dell. Today, he'll be showing us how to synchronize planner plans into Power BI using Power Automate. Let's dive right into it then.
Hello, my name's Ben Howard, and it's my pleasure to present to you today on something called Microsoft Planner. And I'm going to link Planner, and I'm going to link the Planner data to Power BI and Flow. So although this is a pre-recorded session, obviously I am hoping to be online, so I should be available to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, let's just do a little bit of slide intro. So this is me. This is me when I became an MVP, and this is me now. So I'm a bit old in the tooth, if you like, a few more grey hairs, as you can see. If you've got any questions and you can't get hold of me during this session, or you're watching it after, please just get me on the socials there, or email me, ben@applepark.co.uk. Okay, so what are we going to cover off? Well, we're going to take Microsoft Planner files, and we'll cover off what Planner is in a moment, put those, or using Power Automate, put those into some sort of storage. I choose Excel, and from Excel, then we can bring those files into Power BI. That's really what this session is about. So it's about creating a solution for us. We can also, if we want to, use a different storage mode. So you could use Microsoft Lists, or you could use SQL Server, or anything like that. I do have a bit of a solution out there. This is the one we're going to cover off today. So a couple of prerequisites on this, just again for reference. Each Planner plan must be assigned to an Office team. Okay, so we've got to have an Office group in there that we can access, or that Flow will utilize to go and access the Planner plan. Okay, in my solution, the Flow runs daily, so I just run it at a scheduled time, 11 o'clock at night. That Flow does several things. It removes existing tables out of that Excel sheet, and then for every plan in the default Flow, it goes and creates new rows for all of the tasks, all of the buckets, all of the assignments, and all of the checklist items. Okay, that's then stored into an Excel file on different tables, and then that Excel file, of course, because I store it in SharePoint, I haven't mentioned that, but if I hadn't, that's what we do. We store that Excel file in SharePoint online. Because we store it in SharePoint online, then we can access that data via Power BI, and that Power BI file can just be set up for a scheduled daily refresh. Okay, this is all pre-packaged at github.com/ben-howard/planner-Power BI with Power Automate. You can go and look at that. Now, I've got two versions of the Flow on there. I have the original version, and the original version uses an action called delete a row. That deletes all of the rows from the Excel table. That can be slow. Okay, when I say slow, it can take, sometimes it takes 40-50 minutes to run this Flow. It's not necessarily a big issue if you're just running this at 12 o'clock at night. I mean, who cares if it's slow, right? You're asleep then. But somebody then said to me, hey Ben, why don't you use Office scripts to delete all of the rows? And that actually runs a lot faster. However, I don't know if you can import my Flow because it references Office scripts. I've seen different, people come to me and say, Ben, I'm having problems importing this. So, you kind of takes your choice and you pays your money, or rather you pays your money and you takes the choice. Actually, at the Power Automate site here, let's just see if we can open this up. Then you'll see that I've got a flow map with Office scripts and a flow map.pdf. So you can recreate all of this stuff from scratch if you want to, because I have fully documented on a PDF file the flow as it exists and what you might need to change. Okay, so please use this as a starting point. It is not a solution that I sell, it is one I give to the community. So please help yourself to that. Okay, so that's all you need to know, really. But the first question you might ask is, hey Ben, what is Planner? What is this thing called Microsoft Planner? Well, let's go and have a look. So let's just go over to office.com. Okay, now if you've got an E3 or E5 license, you get Planner for free. It's down here. Okay, but Planner itself is kind of a reporting black hole. That's how I describe it, right? So you can create plans. Let's have a look at this plan called Vartsila Scheduling and PES course. So this was a course I created for a company, and quite often I create plans for things. I hadn't really updated this one, but a Microsoft Planner plan consists of tasks. So let's just go and add a new task called submit recording, because I record a lot of stuff, to Acme to production. Okay, and what I can then do for that task is I can assign it to a person. So I might assign it to Ben Howard, or I might assign it to Trent Sterling, or Ben and Trent can do this. We might add a label, so I might give this a red label, but this label then I might actually edit. So let's just say this is part of production. We're going to do this. I can put it in a bucket. Okay, so this would be perhaps in the recorded bucket if it's going to then, so maybe I've recorded it and I want to move it over to production. We can have a progress of this task in production, priority, start date, due date. Let's just say the start date is today. The due date is next Tuesday. And I can put some notes in here. Please ensure the audio is noise gated, and I could add some tasks in here. So I could say export audio to Audacity to remove background noise. And if I wanted to, there's some other things I can do. I can add some attachments. We can comment in here so we can get some history of what's happened, etc., etc. And then I can just simply close that. And you can see we've got that task in recorded. As other things are done, I can then move this around. So this effectively is a bit of a Kanban board. And eventually I can say, okay, let's just set this task as completed. So I could just click there and that's the task completed, and you can see it's then hidden. Okay, so that's what Planner is. But as I say, Planner is a reporting black hole. I've seen companies with, literally hundreds and hundreds of plans, and all you can do out of the box is you can say, hey, let's export this plan to Excel. Well, do you know, that doesn't cut it in an enterprise, right? And I've said this to Microsoft, and they said, well, such is life, Ben. So what I did was then I created this flow to take that data. So let me show you what I did, effectively a little bit from scratch. We'll see if we can start this if you've not used Power Automate. So I'm just going to say, let's create a flow. And this is going to be a scheduled cloud flow. So there's lots of things you can do, but I created a scheduled cloud flow. So I'm going to call this virtual Excel demo, because we're at a virtual Excel conference. Okay, and I will start this at 11 p.m. because normally I'm asleep then and my flows will be fine, and I can repeat this every day. Okay, so we'll create. So what do we need to do? Well, I'm going to add a step. Okay, and the step that I'm going to add is in Excel Online, and what I want to do is I want to delete a row from Excel. Okay, why do I want to do that? Well, we need to understand first of all this Excel file that you can download as part of this script. Okay, let's go and have a look at it. So if I go into office.com again and open up Excel, of course here's one that I created earlier. In fact, this is updated every night at 11 o'clock. So it's this one. It's called Planner Tasks, and that's what you can download and see. Okay, so a couple of things about this. Let's just get rid of sheet 1. I don't need sheet 1 anymore. Gosh, this is a bit slow, isn't it? Come on, right click, sheet 1, delete, insert, delete, there we go. Okay, when you download the Excel file from or you create your own, but when you download the one, if you use my Power Automate solution on GitHub, you'll find that we have these tabs, one tab called Plan, one called Buckets, one called Task, one called Assignments, one called Team Members, and one called Checklists. Each one is created effectively the same. So this Plan, on the Plans tab, there is a table. Okay, the table lists, so let's just have a look. Table design, you can see it's got a name called Plan Table. It's got 3 columns: Plan ID, Plan Name, and Team Name. Okay, and this is where we store the data. So we store the plan data in here. We store information about the buckets in this one. We store information about the tasks in this one. This is a bit of a bigger table. Okay, it's called the task table because for each task we've got lots of data that we might store, including, does it have some sort of label associated with it. So that's all well and good. Notice the label names do not change. So even though I might change the label in Planner, in Power BI, in Flow, it will only pick up the fact that this is a pink label, not that I changed it to production. Okay, so if you want to get those labels back in, you need to have a conversion table back later on. We've got assignments, and assignments lists every plan ID and task ID and user assignment ID. And where do we get the users from? Well, we get them from Teams, and this is why we need to link into a Teams list later on, or a Teams team later on. And we've got checklists, okay? So all of these are very similar in the fact that they have a table name. So what I do is when we create our flow, first of all, we go and say, where have you stored this plan? Well, I stored it in a group called APO group. The document library that I stored it in was documents. The file name itself, we'll go and have a look at that, was just planner tasks. Okay. Then we have the table. So which table do you want to remove rows from? So I'll say, let's just take the task table, and then it's going to ask for a key column, and we can just take the task ID, which is down here, and the key value. I don't think we need anything for that. Okay, we can save that. Okay, it contains invalid parameters. Key value is required. We should be able to. Task ID, key column. Should be right. Key value. And we go and do, of course, what we would always do if we were a little bit stuck. We would go and have a look at the documentation. This should be the key value, list rows present in a table. That's the original one. Oh no, I did team name. Just zoom into this a little bit. We got a list rows present in the table first of all, and then we delete them. Okay, so let's go and add a step in here, add an action. Okay, so we're going to list rows. So first of all, it's an Excel action, so we should be able to list rows present in a table, which is good. Okay, so now we can say, where do we load this from? It's APO group. What's the document library? It's documents. What's the file name? We know that it's planner tasks, and then we can select the task table. Once we've listed rows present in the table, let's just go back to that. Then we can delete each row. Okay, so we delete the tasks. That's that bit there. So let's go back to here, delete a row, which I've called deleted tasks. And now we should be able to get the dynamic content because we've returned the rows present in a table, and now we can get the key value, which will be the task ID. I can just search for this, or I can enter it there. Okay, and I could just save this, right? Now notice it's wrapped this up with an apply to each because it knows there's multiple rows in the table. So let me just click save. And I'm going to test this. And once I've tested this, then I'm just going to take you through kind of the whole thing. Okay, so that's great. So to test this, let's just do this here. Here's my Excel. No, that's not my Excel file. Here's my Excel file. And I'm looking at the tasks task list here. So the task table. So let's just take that there, put that on the left, and put this. Which one were we editing? Put this one on the right. There's my flow. Let's just test this flow. So test it up manually, test, and let's just click on run. Okay, so this is running nicely. Okay, and what we should see is that these rows start to disappear. You can see them there. Okay, and you can see this is running, and it's so far running 15, 16 seconds, etc. So that's going to go through and delete all of the rows in the table. Okay, so now we understand what effectively we're doing. So let me just open up then the proper flow actually. Okay, so let me just show you that's still deleting. So it still is deleting those rows. If we scroll down to the bottom here, actually how many rows have we got? Not that many. We'll end up effectively with an empty table fairly soon. There we go. 17, 16. We're getting rid of those rows as we go along. Okay, so let's maximize this. That's the crux of what we are doing. So let's go back into flow and have a look at my other flows. Okay, so the one that we've got, which actually is disabled in this case because I've modified it slightly. But this is the full flow. Actually, this is -2, so it might not be. This might be a slightly old one. Let's get this to open. Come on, Microsoft, it's not that difficult. Now would be a good time to ask a question in the chat. Okay. So this is the flow that happens. You can see that I run it just generally. Well, this one is disabled, but did run this at 11 o'clock every night. It lists the rows present in the table. That's just what we've been through. There are some advanced options in here. Actually, no, there aren't. There are potentially some advanced options in here. Then we're going to delete the row, and that's exactly what you've just seen. Okay, no advanced options in there. And then we go and list the teams. So this is just another function, another action that you can add in. And then for each team, for each team's list, okay, we list the plans for the group. And then for each plan, okay, remember, this is a plan, Wärtsilä scheduling and PES, okay, so that's the plan. We list the tasks for the plan using the team ID, which we get from here, and the plan, the value from there. And then we apply to each task. Dead easy, we add rows into a table. Okay. And every time we're dealing with something with Excel, adding rows into a table, then of course we need to say what where the table is located and which table we're dealing with. And then we match up these items. So we take the title of the plan and we match that to this title row or title field in the table. Okay, so here's the table. Okay, it's now blank, but we have a title field. Okay, we have a start date and a created date and a due date, and all of those values are linked in from here. There are just some things that I added in which we can't do because or which are not applicable in this particular table. So they're assigned to user ID. You can have a task assigned to multiple users. And so we don't handle that in this branch, which is called list rows present in a table. We actually handle that in the list rows present in the assignments table. Okay. Now for one which is slightly different, all of these are fairly similar. So we do tasks, rows, tasks, buckets, plans, assignments, users. Users is the one which is slightly different, because for users, we go and just get we list the group members for each team, and then for each group member, we add rows into the table. So in this case, we're not taking data out of Planner, we're taking data out of Microsoft Teams. Okay, so that's what happens. That is the basic flow running. So this is the flow that runs by deleting rows present in the table. Okay, so I've got another flow. Let's just go to my flows, which is slightly updated. Okay, and this is this one. So let's just edit this. So you can choose which one you want to use, or of course you can configure these as you like. Okay, again, welcome to flow being slow. Oh, flow and slow rhyme. How weird is that? Okay, but welcome to flow being slow. Okay, this is slightly different in terms of it's still got the same branches, so it's still got the same 6 branches in here. What we do here is when we remove the existing rows, we run an Office script. Okay, the Office script is called remove tasks. This tends to be faster than listing all of the rows and then removing them. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. If we go back to our Excel file, this one, in fact, let's just take assignments instead. So here's the assignments. You see that if you're using a modern version of Excel online, you have something called Office scripts. Again, depends upon your licensing, but pretty much I'm sure the majority of people have got that. And what I've done instead of, or what I've done is I've created these scripts called remove whatever, remove assignments, remove buckets, remove checklists. It's the same table. Okay, so this is still the assignments table, or it would be the teams table, or the tasks table, etc. So let's just go and have a look at these scripts. Okay, so we've got a code editor here, and the script we want to look at in this case would be remove assignments. So let's just edit that script. Okay, now I'm not a developer in any stretch of the imagination, and I borrowed this from someone else, of course, and slightly modified it. But this basically deletes all the rows in the assignments table. So it says let delete table equals workbook get table assignments table. So that's the assignments table. We know it's the assignments table because I'm clicking table assign. It's called assignments table. Okay. And then it says let number of rows equals delete table dot get count row. And then if number of rows is greater than 0, we delete the table. Delete da 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 da. So we can run this. Let's just run that script. So that just goes and runs the script. Yeah, hey, fantastic. And if I put some more data in here, it doesn't matter what data I put in, we can just again run that script and it goes away and it removes that data. Okay, so that actually is a faster way of updating or removing the data out of Excel. Okay, so that's all well and good. What do we do now? Okay, I'm just going to run this one so I've got some latest data in here. In fact, no, before we do that, let's just go into Microsoft Teams and think about this. In fact, let's go back into Vartzilla scheduling. The other thing that I needed to do was assign my planner to a group, which it is anyway. So each planner gets a group by default. Okay, so we can see in here, then we have a group that's created called Vartzilla Scheduling and PES course. Okay, it's a private group. It doesn't really matter whether it's private or public. Okay, now there isn't that I've seen a connector that will just go and get groups for me. What I have to do is I have to go and I've got a connector which will go and get the members of a team or the groups in a team. And then because I've got a group ID, I can then go and get a plan. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to create a Microsoft Teams team that is then associated with that group. Okay, so I'm going to join or create a team. Okay, so we'll just go and create a team here. And it's from an existing group or team because we've already got an Office 365 group, which if we scroll is here, Vartzilla Scheduling and PES Course. Notice it's that private group. So I'll just click create on there. So we'll create that team. Brilliant. So we've got a team, that's nice. The way to check that if it's linked into something is just to go and put in the Planner app as a tab. Okay, we'll put in the tasks by planner and to do. That's the actual tab, sorry. And then it's going to say which plan do you want to pick up. Okay, use an existing plan from this team. The only existing plan from this team is for the Vartzilla Scheduling and PES course. So I can click save on that. So that just ensures and it makes me aware that I can see this plan now in Teams. Okay, there it is. That's the plan we created. And of course, we know that we can create new tasks in here. This interface, of course, is just the same interface as that one. Okay. Okay, so now we've linked that together. We can then go and run the flow. Okay, so this is a quick one. Yep, let me just go and test that. Of course, it would run at 9 o'clock manually, and test. Okay, that should be running. Done. And then this page will refresh, and of course, and it will show me that the flow is running. And hopefully, all being well, we'll put that on the left, and we'll put our Excel spreadsheet, which we seem to have closed. Okay, well, let's just create a new tab in here. Let's go to Office, Excel. There we go. That's the one that we are playing with, or should be playing with, I think. We'll put that on the left-hand side. Okay, and you can see we've got some new assignments in there. So this is running, and we should have new teams, we should have tasks, we should be getting assignments in there. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's coming in, so it's doing this portion here, and that's what we're seeing there. So that's all well and good. Great. Cool, cool, cool. So you've all joined this because it's Power BI, right? So the planner, the flow stuff, that's just incidental piece or pieces. But really what this is about, this whole session is about how you can use the Power Platform to create a low or no code customized solution for you. Okay. And that customized solution, of course, is how do I get enterprise reporting against the black hole that is Microsoft Planner? In terms of black hole, it's a great tool, right? It's a great tool, but black hole in terms of reporting for Microsoft Planner. All right, so let's go and just download. Let's go over to GitHub again. So why I didn't open up GitHub in the same browser as the others, I don't know. Okay, let's just zoom that back to normal. Okay, you'll see what we have in here. In fact, the easiest way to get hold of this is just to go and grab a release. Okay, just download the latest release. But, of course, you can grab the individual files. And I've got a planner report with flow.pbit. Okay, so let's just look at that and download that. Okay, so it's going to stick that into Power BI. Okay, I've got a couple of versions of Power BI on my system, so I always like to use the latest one, which isn't the default one. The default one is the one that's not from the store, it's the manual download. So we'll go and use this one. Okay, and Power BI being Power BI, my PC being my PC. Of course, it takes seconds, 30 seconds to load up, which when you're doing a demo is a long time. So here's Power BI. Maybe we can maximize this. Get rid of that yellow line at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to close this little one down. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on File and I'm going to import that Power BI template. So the PBIT file is a Power BI template file. Okay. File. Good. Import. Good. Power BI template. Good. Download. Planner report with flow.pbit. Okay. Sounds good. Open. So this template is basically a pre-configured Power BI report as you would expect. So you're free to customize it, play with it, share it back with me when you've modified it, all of those great things. I hope you find it useful in your organization. The first thing that it asks for is the data source of that Excel file. Where are you storing that Excel file in your organization? Okay, so let's just read this. A Power BI template that takes data from an Excel file stored in SharePoint. Not SharePoint version 1.1, this was version 1.1. So I've not updated this for a while. Enter the path to the Excel file stored in SharePoint used into the Excel file web URL parameter below. The path can be found via the copy path button in the Excel app. Paste in the full path but remove the %web=1 from the end. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, a little bit of help on that. Okay, so how do we get that path? Well, we go back to Excel. Okay, and we can open up Excel and we can ignore Microsoft stuff. Okay, so this path, how do we get at that path? How we get at that path is we have to edit the file in the desktop app. So we have to open up the Excel file in Excel for Windows, I guess, we might call it that now. Okay, so we can close that down. And hopefully Excel will load up somewhere. There it is. Bang, 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 bang. So that's loading up and it's opening up Planner on my desktop. So we can get rid of this bit in the back for now. We'll leave it there though. Okay, so here's the Excel file. Of course, it's got new assignments in, and it could well be being written into at the moment. Okay, the beautiful thing about Excel is you can co-document or you can have co-document authors in here, so multiple people can edit this at once. But how do you get at this path? Well, you click on File and then Info, and then you click on this bit called Copy Path. Let's just run up Notepad to have a look at that. Okay, we'll just paste that in. Okay, that's the path to this document. Okay, so that's what we want to copy in. Remember, we want to get rid of $web=1. So we'll just highlight all of that. Control C. I can then close that down. I won't bother saving that. We can close that. We can now close Excel. Done with Excel. And we can open up our Power BI template and paste this in. Control V. Okay. So then all I need to do is click Load. Okay, so it's gone away and found that Excel file, and then it performs the queries via Power Query, of course, and brings the data in. Again, this might take a few seconds, so let's just watch that go along. Okay, now I'm purposefully doing this in real time so that you get to understand how long this might take in your organization. Sometimes I record videos and I cut out chunks of time. I don't think we're going to have a long time waiting for this. Okay, this is what this would normally take. Okay, now my data isn't huge. Let's just go and have a look at, well, we'll have a quick look at the report. We'll have a quick look also at some of the Power Query stuff. So you can see that we've got some fields coming in here, say some queries. So we've got the query for the bucket table, the checklist table, the label. Quite why I didn't call that the label table, I don't know. The plan table, the task table, and the user table. And very simply, I've got 3 pages on this report. You can see it was last updated March 2022. That's all okay. This is what the report looks like. So again, a simple report. Now what I've tried to do here is just provide one page that is a starting page for you all. And then I went and added in checklists, so those ended up on a separate page. But let's just get this little lot to refresh. Notice the graphics. Okay, the graphics, we've got this thin donut chart, and we're using these particular colors of grey and purple and blue. Well, if we go back to Planner, which is over here, and we just expand that little lot. Okay, this is still running, by the way. So we may get some incomplete data. I might have to just do a quick refresh. So notice this is still taking 9 minutes. So this can, and I don't have a lot of data, this can easily take an hour or so to run. Okay, but if we go back to Planner and I was to have a look at charts in Planner, then I'm using the same sort of colors. Okay, let's just have a look, see if we've got anything in here. No, so nothing's in progress or late. Let's have a look at DBX Public. No. Most of my plans, the majority of my plans are just very quick demo plans, okay? But I'm trying to use the same sort of graphics and information, or same sort of graphics that Microsoft are using. Okay, now I'm not going to guarantee that by any stretch of imagination. So this is all well and good. We could well go and now search for a particular plan, okay? Wärtsilä scheduling and PES course, so we could click on there and we can see we've got 37 tasks remaining. Let's just make sure that we've deselected everything. Good. And then we just select Wärtsilä scheduling. Okay, 4 tasks remaining, and then that's the tasks that haven't been done, the ones which have been completed, etc. So we've got all sorts of good things on here. You can view this by task status, you can view it by team. Let's just select everything in here, of course. Okay, so we could go and view this by team, by plan, by bucket. You can have different buckets across different plans, okay? May or may not make sense, depends upon how you're working. I was working with an engineering company earlier this week, and they've got consistent buckets across all of their effectively Kanban plans in Planner. We can have a look at who is assigned to the task, okay, and we can go and have a look at those labels. Again, notice those labels just come in as pink, yellow, red, etc. Nothing I can do about that. If you always said, right, all of my red labels are going to be called marketing, then you could have another table, of course. You could go and enter data in here and link those two together, or you could link in a table from SharePoint or even Excel, of course. And then I put another item on here just for checklist items, just because this ended up coming in separately. Okay, so that's that. Let's just go and have a quick look at the data models so that you're aware of that. Okay, basically we are interested in tasks, and this may or may not be the best data model in the world, but you can see every task may have one or more assignments, so we have a one-to-many, and each assignment will have at least one user, but one user can be assigned to many assignments, of course. That's the way it works. We have checklists, we have labels, we have plans, and we have buckets, and they're all again bi-directional. I know you speak to people, don't use bidirectional, but sometimes you kind of just have to in order to create the report that you want. Okay, just be aware of that, obviously. And then finally, let's just go and have a look at the transform data in Power Query, which of course always opens up on a different screen, doesn't it? So let's just grab that. Come to Benji, come on. Okay, it's now maximized. Okay. Okay. So there's a few things we do in here that I had to do to get, because we might want to look at assignments with no users, and sometimes we might have, I've got bizarrely in my teams, in Planner, I've got tasks with no bucket. Not sure how I created those. Okay, but that's happened. So I do a little bit of playing around with data in here. I think specifically I create an assignment table none and a user table none, and then I'm not going to worry too much about that, but probably the user table here is, well, we append the none on the end, so it's no assignment unassigned, so that I've always got kind of a full set of data in Planner. Otherwise, in Power BI, otherwise if things are blank, then of course they're not displayed for me. Okay, so we can just close that. I won't close and apply, we'll just close that. I'll do another quick refresh on here just because Teams of the flow was still running, so I'll make sure I've got the latest data in here. Okay, of course, once we've refreshed that, let's just go and publish this. So let's just nip over to app.powerbi.com. And I'll create a new workspace and we'll publish this into the new workspaces. So workspaces, create a workspace, Excel virtually. We just click save. Okay, all well and good, no data in there. So let's go back to Power BI. That's refreshed. Let's put it on the right page for when we publish, which will be the Planner Tasks page for me. Let's now click on publish. Do you want to save your changes? Yes, please. Oh, because it's a template, so it's going to say, hey, Ben, do you want to save this template? So we'll just call it, yep, this will be Planner Tasks from Flow. Okay. And then it becomes a PBIX, of course, which you would then, store somewhere nice. Click save, not in my downloads. Okay, so it's going to save that. Then it's going to ask us where we would like to publish that. So we'll look for Excel virtually, click select. And because we've not published anything this report before, it's not going to ask us to overwrite that. So let's go over to Excel virtually. Great. Here is our new plan. Sorry, our new report. We can see it. We can load it up, we can interact with it, we can do all of the great stuff that of course we would do in Power BI. So that's good, except of course what I need to do is I need to set this up to refresh. Okay, so I'm just going to set up a settings, and I'm going to set a scheduled refresh. Now remember, my flow runs every night at 11 o'clock. So therefore I'm going to set this up to refresh daily, and let's just add in another time. So 1 AM would probably work for me nicely, and I'll click apply. Okay, so Flow's going to run at 11 o'clock. Power BI is going to set up its automatic refresh at 1 o'clock. Okay, so that should just work nicely, and your Power BI report now of course can be shared with many people in the organization using, of course, your lovely share button here. The other thing that we should do is now embed live data into PowerPoint. Now if you've not done this, let's just do that. I'm going to copy that, but I'm going to open this in PowerPoint as well. Okay, So this will just hopefully wrap all of this little lot up. PowerPoint, of course, again, opens on a different screen. Let's bring that in here. Come on. There we go. We'll just maximize that. And there's my report in PowerPoint. Now, if you need to do that, the difficult way, if I just hit Control M to create a new slide, Control M, okay, Control M, God. Insert new slide. Thank you very much. We'll just have that as blank. Thank you. Then what you do is you click on the insert button, and here you've got get add-ins, and you may already have this under my add-ins. But if you've not, you need to go to Microsoft Store and you search for Power, obviously, space BI. Okay, and a couple will come up. You've got Power BI Tiles, which is a third-party application by DevScope or somebody. That effectively is now being replaced by this Microsoft Power BI one. So we'll add that in. We've obviously read the terms and conditions. And then it says, please paste the report URL from the Power BI here. Well, obviously we could go into Power BI and get the report URL. Okay. For any report, of course, or we could just I did copy it before, so I could paste it in, and then we can just click insert. So you've now got daily, monthly reporting, which is automated. So when you're on your stand-up meeting, or you're in your stand-up meeting on Monday morning, you can be sure that this is right. Okay. Now, if I just duplicate that slide, sometimes, of course, we want to keep a document of record of what's happening. So there are times where, let's go and get this. We'll load the data. A couple of configurations items on here. We can refresh the data from Power BI. This just tells us about the add-in options. Okay, but here we can say show as saved image. Okay, so I don't want that to update. I just want that to be a saved image. Okay, so that saved image is not going to update, and this one is always going to be live. And of course, if I shift F5 on this, okay, there's the report. Okay, and I've got real live interactivity to my Power BI report directly from within PowerPoint. That Microsoft deserves a round of applause. Okay. In fact, obviously, I need to learn how to use my Power BI piece. Let's not select all. Oh, my mouse is gone. All right, you get the point. Okay, I need to be a bit smarter with PowerPoint. Okay, so let's just wrap this up. I've got a few slides. Let's whiz through all of the slides. We started with Excel. We uploaded the Excel to SharePoint site. If we used the flow, then we added scripts to the Excel file. If not, we don't need to do much to it. We test that the scripts are available as part of the GitHub download. We added planner plans to a Teams group. We opened Teams. We created a team to be associated with the plan. So that's all well and good. And then we did the tough bit, which was really editing the flow, because it takes time. You're going to have to configure the location of the Excel file in SharePoint for every branch of that flow. Okay, there's 6 branches, but you only need to do it for the tasks, buckets, assignments, users, no assignments, checklists, and labels. Okay, and we link the tables and the fields further down. Run the flow and test some more. Okay. And then we configured Power BI, which is basically you enter the URL to the Excel file, refresh and publish, and set up a scheduled refresh time. Okay. A couple of options around storage, of course. Why bother using Excel if you're in an enterprise? Go and stick it in SQL Server, Oracle, anything. I don't really care, but this is a low code stroke no code solution. I chose Excel because everybody has Excel, everybody can use it, and everybody understands it. You could of course store it in SharePoint lists in Microsoft. That would work equally the same. Yeah, that would work equally well, perhaps. Of course, what you're going to have to do is modify the flow to store it in SharePoint, and you're going to have to modify the Power BI template to get the data out of the SharePoint list as well. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Slightly different shirt to the one on the photo, but you know, it's the same beard and the same glasses. A bit less of a beard, actually. Enjoy your session. If you do need to get hold of me, there are my deets, as they call them these days. All right, thank you and goodbye. It's been my absolute pleasure. Have a great day. Hope you learn a lot. Enjoy your Power Platform journey. Take care.
Ben, thank you very much for that.
You can hear me at the moment.
I hear you now. Oh, and you're gone again. You're muted again.
Hello, how's that?
Loud and clear. Perfect.
Brilliant. Yeah, happy with the camera. If somebody wants to show the camera, I don't think we've got any questions, have we, at the moment?
Yeah, the camera's up. No, nothing's come in. But if you want to point us to any of your links where we can find more of your things, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, the links are just you grab me on LinkedIn. I don't know. Can I share my screen at the moment?
You should be able to.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just open up a browser. I mean, the detail. Anyone who's watched the session anyway.
Yeah, they're all there at the
see
end.
that on GitHub. They're all there at the end. So yeah, you know, and they're part of the session. So it's the GitHub really has everything on there, and that's the main place to go. So hopefully people will find that useful and rewatch it back on the web.
All right then. I'll let you go and I'll start moving people over to our second session.
Yeah, well, brilliant. Thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. All right, as always, I'll bring up the QR code on screen for you, as well as the bit.ly link, so that you can leave any feedback that you want. Thank you for doing that.